Hello everyone, welcome EduGram Audiobook Maharashtra State Board Series. Today we are going to listen Class 6th. Subject History. Chapter 10 Ancient India, Cultural. 10.1 Language and Literature. 10.2 Life of the People. 10.3 Science. 10.4 Centers of Education. 10.5 Art and Architecture. 10.1 Language and Literature. There was an uninterrupted literary tradition in ancient India. This literature was produced in the Sanskrit, Magadhi, Pali and Tamil languages. It included religious literature, treatises on grammar, epics, plays, stories, etc. Sangham literature. Sangham means a gathering of learned men. The literature compiled in such gatherings is known as Sangham literature. It is the most ancient literature in Tamil. Silappatikaram and Manimekalai are two of its well-known epics. From Sangham literature, we learn about the political and social life in South India during the period. Religious literature. The important texts include Agamgranth, Tipitaka, and Bhagavad Gita. The Jain Agamgranthas are written in the Prakrit languages of Magadhi, Surseni, and Maharashtri. The Agamgranthas are a collection of the teachings of Vardhaman Mahavir. Literary works like Mahapuranas, biographies, stories, etc. are available in the Apabhramsha language. Siddhant Rawate wrote Samasutta, a work in Prakrit, on jurisprudence. Vimalsuri has told the story of Rama in Pomchariya, a poetic work in Prakrit. Haribhadrasuri's Samarika Kahaka and Udiotansuri's Kuvalayamallakaha are well-known works. Tipitaka has 3 pitakas or parts. The word pitaka means a basket or collections. Here it means a section. The Tipitaka is written in Pali. It consists of 3 categories of texts. 1. Sutta Pitaka. It includes the texts of Gautama Buddha's teachings or sermons. They are called suktas. 2. Vinay Pitaka. The word Vinay here means rules. The Vinay Pitaka gives the rules of behavior, which bhikkhus and bhikkhunis in the Bauddha Sangha should follow in their day-to-day lives. 3. Abhidhamma Pitaka. In this, Buddhist doctrine has been explained. A text titled Adhikatha, Arthakatha, which explains the Tipitakas, is well known. Learned women composed gathas, narratives, about their own experiences. They have been compiled in the Therigatha. They are in the Pali language. The Bhagavad Gita, which is a sacred text of the Hindus, is a part of the Mahabharata. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that each one of us should do our duty without expecting rewards. It also says that the path of devotion to God is open to all. Adi Shankaracharya lived during the 8th century CE. He emphasized knowledge and renunciation. He wrote commentaries explaining the Upanishads, Brahmasutras, and the Bhagavad Gita. He established 4 muths in 4 directions of India at Badrinath, Dwarka, Jagannathpuri, and Sringeri. Kautilya wrote the Arthashastra, in which he discusses at length what constitutes an excellent administrative system. Treatises on grammar, Ashtadhyayi, written by the grammarian Panini, is considered to be the standard work on Sanskrit grammar. Patanjali wrote Mahabhashya. It explains the principles given in Panini's Ashtadhyayi. Arsha and classical epics. Ramayana and Mahabharata are the 2 Arsha epics of ancient India. Arsha means composed by rishis or sages. The Ramayana was composed by the rishi Valmiki. The main character of Ramayana is Sri Ram. Mahabharata has been composed by the sage Vyas. Its main theme is the war between the Kauravas and Pandavas. It also tells us about Lord Krishna's life. The Mahabharata provides a comprehensive picture of the various human sentiments and emotions and their consequences. Sometimes, there is such a period in the history of language, literature and art, that its glory remains undiminished even later on. The art, literature, etc. produced in such a period is said to be classical. Raghavansha and Kumar Sambhava by Kalidasa, Kiratarjunia by Bharvi, and Shishupalvad by Magha, are well-known compositions of the ancient period written in classical Sanskrit. Theatre. India has an ancient tradition of telling a story through songs, music and dance. These arts have been discussed in great detail in the Natya Shastra by Bharat Muni. When these arts are presented with supporting dialogues, they are known as theatre. Among the ancient Sanskrit plays, Swapnavasavadutta by Bhasa, Abhijnanchakuntal by Kalidasa, etc. are famous. Narrative literature. In the ancient times, storytelling was used to educate people through entertainment. Gunadhya's Brihatkatha, written in a language called Paishachi, is well known. Panchatantra, composed by Pandit Vishnu Sharma, is an excellent example of narrative literature. This text has been translated into many languages. Similarly, Bada Jataka tales are also very well known. 10.2 Life of the People. The literature of ancient India sheds light on the way of life of the common people of the time. Those were prosperous times, due to the flourishing internal as well as foreign trade. The society was divided into different castes. There were organizations of traders as well as artisans. These organizations were called Shrenis. Trade was carried out by sea as well as land routes. Indian goods like fine textiles, ivory, precious stones, spices, beautifully made earthen pottery were in great demand in foreign countries. The main crops were rice, wheat, barley and lentil, masoor. The diet of the people included food items made from these besides meat, fish, milk, ghee and fruits. The people mostly wore cotton garments, though silk and woolen garments were also worn. Their clothes resembled today's dhoti, uparane, mundays, sari, etc. The concept of stitching clothes was introduced in India during the Kushana period. 10.3 Science Medicine. Indian medical science is known as Ayurveda. It has a very old tradition. It seeks to understand the symptoms of an illness, its diagnosis and treatment. Also, much thought has been given to prevention of illness. Javaka was a well-known Vaidya at the court of King Bimbisara. The Charaka Samhita contains detailed information about clinical diagnosis and pharmacy. It was written by Charak. The famous surgeon Sushruta has discussed the diagnosis of different ailments and their remedies in his treatise the Sushruta Samhita. The importance of this text is that it discusses the different causes leading to injuries, fractures, their types and the various types of surgeries required for them. The text was translated into the Arabic language and was called Kitab-i-Susud. Vagbhata also wrote many books on medical science. The Ashtang Sangraha and Ashtang Hridaya Samhita are the most important of them. The Bauddha bhikkhu, Siddhant Rawate, in his book Rasratnakara describes various chemicals and metals. Mathematics and astronomy. The ancient Indians had studied mathematics and astronomy at great depth. Indians were the first to use the numerals 1 to 9 and 0. They invented the concept of decimal system, in which the value of a digit changes according to its place ekam, daham, units, tens, etc. The scientist Aryabhata wrote the book Aryabhatiya, which included many formulae for mathematical operations. Aryabhata was also an astronomer. He stated that the earth revolves around the sun. Varamahir wrote the famous text Panchasiddhantaka in the 6th century AD. This text discusses principles of Indian astronomy, along with the principles of astronomy from the Greek, Roman and Egyptian civilizations. The texts of the mathematician Brahmagupta, who lived in the 7th century CE, were translated into the Arabic language. 10.4 Centers of Education. There were many famous centers of education in ancient India. Students from other countries also came there for their studies. Takshashila University. Takshashila was an important city on the ancient Indian trade route. Today, it is in Pakistan. Archaeological evidence found there suggests that the city was established in the 6th century BCE. Javaka, a contemporary of Gautama Buddha and a famous Vaidya, had studied at Takshashila University. By the 4th century BCE, the fame of the university had spread far and wide. Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of the Maurya Empire, was educated at this university. The grammarian Panini and the Vaidya Charaka were also students of Takshashila University. The Greek historians who accompanied Alexander have also given a description of the university. They have stated that such a university did not exist anywhere in Greece. The famous Chinese Bauta Bhikkhu, Fa Hien, who came to India around 400 CE, also visited the Takshashila University. The university provided education in various subjects such as Vedic literature, Buddhist philosophy, economics, logic, etc. Varanasi. The river Ganga has two tributaries, Varana and Aci. The city located between them came to be called Varanasi. Since ancient times, it has had centers which provided education in the areas of Vedic as well as Jain and Buddhist philosophy. Vallabhi. Vallabhi was an ancient city in Saurashtra, Gujarat. From the 5th to the 8th century CE, it was an important center of Jain and Buddhist philosophy. Yuan Chuang and Itzing, the Chinese Bauta Bhikkhus, had visited Vallabhi. Nalanda University. The remains of the ancient Nalanda University can be found near today's Patna city in Bihar. Emperor Harshavardhan made generous donations to this university. According to the descriptions of Yuan Chuang and Itzing, Nalanda University could accommodate thousands of students. The library stocked thousands of books. Students seeking admission to the university had to appear for an examination at the entrance gate. Vikramshila University. This university was located near today's Bhagalpur in Bihar. It was established by a king named Dharmapal in the 8th century CE. It had 6 viharas, each having its own separate entrance. Kangchi. During the reign of the Pallava dynasty, 6th century CE, Kangchi in Tamil Nadu emerged as an important center of education. It was a center for the teaching and learning of Vedic, Jain and Buddhist texts. 10.5 Art and Architecture. Indian architecture reached its peak during the Maurya and the Gupta periods. The stone pillars erected by Emperor Ashoka at various places are excellent examples of Indian sculpture. The stupa at Sanchi and cave sculptures at Udayagiri, Kandagiri, Karla, Nashik, Ajanta, Ellora, etc. show that the same tradition advanced even further. The art of making images was developed during the Gupta period. Temple architecture developed during the reigns of the Chalukya and Pallava dynasties in South India. The temples of Mahabalipuram are a testimony to this architecture. The art of making bronze images of deities emerged during the period of the Pallavas. The iron pillar at Murali near Delhi is evidence of the advanced knowledge of metallurgy of the ancient Indians. Thus, it is clear that ancient Indian culture was very prosperous and advanced. In the next chapter, we will study India's contact with other civilizations and its far-reaching impact. Chapter end. Find the answer book in the description of the video. Take 15-minute break before starting next chapter. EduGram help you to understand chapters in audio-visual ways that is also for free. Get the audiobook, explanation videos, question-answer book, exam preparation materials for free. Like, share and subscribe EduGram. Stay tuned for next chapter.